hugging and kissing. Oh, you love as you love her, kissing is kissing.
My name is Derek Evans. I've been a drummer for a while. I'm Brad's father.
Well, I started making music at about the age of 8. I began to learn to play the guitar then, and I wrote my first song at the age of 16 as an experiment to see if I could write a song at the age of 16, and from there until now has been the journey of a lifetime.
For lack of a better term, we got bored and decided to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, there was actually more to it than even that. I was like really drunk actually in the local Wetherspoons, and I said to Josh, you know what, I think we should start a band. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And that's literally the origin about it, but it was to do with being bored and starting the band as well.
Kind of got that it wasn't a boy band.
Yeah, same.
It's always been in my life. I had 3 older brothers. They were encouraged to get into music. My uncle, in fact. So from the age of 6 or 7, I asked for a guitar, first of all, and I was bought this acoustic guitar. I always thought that, up to that point, the guitar was the loud thing. That's what made most of the sound, big sound. I was into that. When I started listening, I realised most of the big sound was coming off the organ, a guy called John Lord, and that was it. I needed to play keyboards because they were the loudest thing. So I started. From about 8, I started playing keyboards.
Well, I was doing an apprenticeship in electronics and electrical work. My boss in this, where I was doing my apprenticeship, was a very clever musician, and he used to tutor me in the theory of music, and I became very interested in it.
I started back when I was about 15. I bought my first drum kit. It was a mishmash of different drums, and I started back in 1977. I started.
Music has been the thread that has bound my life together from infancy, really. My parents would tell you that, if they were still alive, that at the age of 2, apparently, in my cot, when a certain advert would come on the television, I would bounce up and down to that particular piece of music. And it is a fascinating question which I still haven't been able to answer as to exactly what it is about music which provokes this reaction in me, this deep emotional reaction that I have no control over. So, yes, it is an enormous passion which has been with me from a very early age, and I'm thrilled to be able to say that it is as big a passion for me now as it was there, if bigger in some ways now than it was then.
Exactly what you were saying about the uncontrollability of it all. It's just something that you have or you don't have, I think. The depth of the effect that music has on you, I think you've got no control over.
Well, it's been my life, really. So, yes, it's become... And also, when I was younger, I mean, music was also a key to being noticed. I mean, I wasn't a particularly confident child. I was very shy. I've lost the shyness now a lot. But the music was a way of getting noticed. But as I got older and I outgrew those needs, then music became a much more pure enjoyment.
Living in Bridgend and underneath, there's definitely a much bigger hardcore, post-hardcore scene in Wales, and metalcore to an extent as well. While Belfast is kind of known for being a punk rock city, and it's evident because growing up there, most of the bands that would play in, let's say the equivalent of the Duke, which is a metal club in Neath, is the punk club, the Warzone in Belfast, which mostly just plays punk, hardcore punk, and ska music and oi music and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the bands differ a lot. Not in talent though. They're both both areas are very talented bands.
Kiwis used to have a lot of hardcore gigs when it was open.
Yeah.
Kiwis gigs were amazing.
Missed out on those.
I don't mind it's opening again soon.
Oh yeah, sick.
Hopefully the pits will return.
There's too many rocky sort of bands that play the same type of stuff, which in Swansea people love, which is strange really, but they like the Stereophonics, the Manic Street Preachers, that type of rock, and there's not much unless you go to a specialist place which is like a jazz club or blues club. Most of the pubs seem to be playing the same sort of style of music, which is basic rock. I was in a band that played that type of stuff, and roads used to go down well, because that's what people like.
You need to give local bands a springboard so they can eventually move out of the local area as well. If the local scene doesn't get supported,
You're like every
it
band.
kind of causes the bands to stagnate, and not just that, it then kills the local scene as well, and you don't want that to happen. So Neath is a pretty good local scene. So.
Yeah, like
And I said it's well supported.
Yeah, it has good venues. They do.
Yeah.
Kiwis when it opens again. I'm sure I've seen a band or two playing Eden. Bands playing the big cam all the time.
The Arch.
The Arch. Oh yeah, the Arch.
Yeah, there's bands in the Arch. Yeah.
The Arch
God, there's even bands in Merlin's. So
Merlin's.
Yeah, I'd say almost every single pub, maybe bar, the Weatherspoons, has live music, which is fantastic.
And in Swansea as well. There's loads.
Loads, yeah.
There's a scene. I don't know what it's called now. Sin. A lot of bands playing Sin. Murphy's. There's loads of bands in there.
Bridgend is a perfect example of local bands being supported, because then out of that came Bill for My Valentine, Funeral for a Friend, and The Automatic. So
Automatic are Welsh.
Yeah, from Bridgend. Yeah. So
did not know that.
That's like when you support your local scene enough, things like that can happen. So yeah, I think
like Neck Deep from Wrexham.
Yeah,
Like a massive thanks to the local music scene.
Definitely.
And then they are recognised like by the guy who runs Warped Tour. Check them out Warped Tour, and they're huge, and they're selling out stadiums now. That's mental.
Exactly.
Years I've been playing the guitar, and there is a distinction between being a musician and I guess what I've become over the years is what you'd think of perhaps in older terms as a minstrel, but what would be called more in this day and age was a troubadour, because there is a distinction between being purely a musician where you play an instrument, but what I've somehow been able to do, and don't ask me how I've been able to do it, other than I've been driven to want to do it. My heroes are, many of them, well, all of them are people who are singer-songwriters, and they self-accompany. So I found myself being able to accompany myself, so it's voice and an instrument.
For 4 years, I had about 5-6 years off. Where I didn't play at all. About 35 years overall.
I think as a family we all had the natural ability, but not all of us have exploited it. Not even me, really. I could have exploited it a lot more. I mean, as I told you, I stopped being a concert pianist because I didn't want that workload, and there's no way around it. You have to put the effort in.
I think for both of us, really, this isn't just about what we do, it's who we are, really. Because you can't separate, I don't feel that I can separate what I do from who I am, I do not believe for any form of expression that you can separate the artist from the art, and the art from the artist, no matter which way it manifests itself. Whatever you produce, you are part of it, and it is part of you. So it's an interaction between the two.
Don't ever leave me, don't ever say goodbye. One more kiss that's holding a long time.
Well, it's what I know I can do, and it's what I know that I'm half decent at. Singing might be the wrong term though for me. It's more
vocals,
growling. Yeah, it's more growling. It's
snarling.
more my kind of thing. Yeah, but yeah, it's for me. I find it comfortable. I wouldn't be comfortable doing anything else simply because it's not where my talents lie. So yeah, I'm finding it enjoyable.
I reckon you could rock the triangle.
Yeah, 100%. Or the bassoon.
Nice bassoon solo, bit of a breakdown.
Don't ever leave me, don't ever say goodbye.
By the age of 14, I decided I wanted to join bands because I still like pop music at that time and rock music. And I joined a sort of punky, heavy metal type outfit, which is ridiculous really because I was a piano player and they left me no room to play parts really. Nothing effective anyway. They'd be all, come on, get away with loud instruments and all that. And playing the piano with that was quite boring. I mean, I'd have to just play the chords along with them. Anything else you wouldn't hear.
Proper, I suppose I would have been in my early 20s then, but there were things in secondary school. I had the gross misfortune. It's still a mystery how this happened, but I seem to have ended up in an all-boys grammar school for my secondary education. And there was a very strong musical element to it. So I do recall working with little ensembles, for a variety. St. David's Day concerts would come along and we would work with a variety of different people, but they weren't ongoing. So there were, a variety of little things like that I was involved with, but I would have said the first sort of permanent outfit I would have been involved in, although I did many solo things up until that point, but I would have been about 23 then, and I became involved with some people that are still in the area, outstanding singer-songwriters, and was for the next few years was an incredible education and a wonderful experience.
My first band was All Originals, which was called Horizon. That was back in 1980. That consisted of my two brothers, bass player, singer. Not much call for original music around at that time. But that was my first band. Then I joined a couple of soul bands, a couple of rockish bands, and now at the moment I'm in a blues band and a 9-piece soul band, which is going along pretty well.
I'm working in an awful lot of bands because I think even by the age of 19 or 20, I could see that it was precarious. You could put a lot of work into your band and then other members would let you down. And that seemed to be a recurrent theme. It was very difficult to get people that was as dedicated to music as you were, which I think anyone who wants to start in bands should be aware of. Make sure all your members are as keen as you are and as willing to work, because it is hard work, and keen to practice and make the band as good as it can be.
I was 21, I think it was, 21 years old, at the end of the apprenticeship, because during that time, Brian Cooper, my good friend still today, my boss then, had taught me so much about music theory, that I wanted to put it into practice. And I told you earlier that I applied for the local band job, which I got, and I really enjoyed that. I learned so much from these fellas, not only about the theory and everything that goes with being in a little band. There's a lot more than just playing and knowing what you're doing.
Ever since I can remember, there's always been my three brothers and are all musicians. You got Brian, who's a guitarist, and now's gone on to bass playing. You have Gary, who played the drums, piano, cello, violin, anything really picks up. And then you've got Colin then, who's the only classically trained musician in the band, who's keyboards. So yes, I've grown up with music from a very young age. So my parents, not musical, so we weren't brought up through the parents' side of it. It's just what we picked up, listened to music and think, right, we can do that, and we've just, picked up instruments from a very young age and started playing.
My mother played the piano, not in a professional sense, but she enjoyed it. She too had lessons when she was young, but I think her teacher was a bit brutal and put her off. But she enjoyed playing the piano. And my father played the harmonica, which is not an easy instrument to play, really. It's not to get a good tune out of, and he was pretty good at it. Though he kept it fairly close to his chest, that he could play. And of course, my uncle, who influenced my older brothers in particular to play, he was a jazz drummer, and he had been a gigging musician. He had played in jazz bands, and it was his hobbyist attitude, I think, that rubbed off on us boys. So yes, it's definitely in the family, because as I said, I've never known really a time without music being a lifestyle.
Well, my aunt, who ironically enough named Novello after Ivan Novello, my aunt Novello, or Vella we used to call her, was a respected singer in chapel, which was a focal point for much music back then. And my father played the piano, not wonderfully well, but well enough. So it was in the family. I had my first public performance in chapel at the age of 5 at a quarterly school, singing Silent Night in the pulpit on my own. And
Nobody sing with you?
no, and they keep having me back until I get it right.
I joined through various people that I knew, and we just got together. That's majority of the bands is somebody knew me and they got me in. Or talking at a pub, and then we sort of joined the band, started a band together. That's majority of them. Another one then is mainly the guitarist that I'm in a band with now at the moment. He's got me into a few bands, and then he's left a few bands. So I've been. That's mainly it. The reason why I've left, sometimes because the band just tends to fold up after a while. It loses its attraction, you get bored and whatever, then you just split up. There's other reasons. 2 bands I've been in, there's been a clash of personalities between various members, and then I just left, or they've got rid of me because where I wasn't good enough, or clash of personalities more the point. And that's the reason.
We started it.
We started it really. So after we started the band, we messaged people, local musicians from the area, and just basically whoever was interested joined. So that was Rory Merson,
Reese Bendel, Dan Phillips.
Dan Phillips, yeah.
And they're actually they're actually very talented as well.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, good. And nice people as well, which is the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be in a band with people you don't get on with.
No, it didn't even really matter if they weren't that talented, because when Kings of Leon released their first album, their bassist couldn't even play bass.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
So talent comes, but being nice doesn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We answered an advert I think Peter explained that. The other two members, the other girl singer and the guitarist, and we answered the ad, and they were going to use pre-made backing tracks, and we heard them and we thought they were awful. We didn't say it so much, but we thought they are horrible backing tracks. I don't want. So me and Peter then set out then to transcribe all ABBA's music, or all the popular music, I should say, which is nearly 2 hours worth. And we used the studio to make our own backing tracks. And that involved me listening carefully to the parts, making sure they're all correct, programming synths and all that, because ABBA did use quite a lot of synthesis. We also laid then on the backing tracks a lot of the extensive backing vocals, which Lorraine and Peter done most of that.
Oh, because Colin and Lorraine persuaded me to. No. It's true. They were recording backing tracks here, a load of backing tracks, a heck of a lot of them, and it was, coming to the end. And they said, well, why don't you come and play the guitar now in the ABBA group? I said, no, I've had enough of that now. I'm too old to go doing all that again, And then they asked again. So I said, yes, all right, go on. You can't resist it, can you? So I joined the ABBA group and it was great. It was excellent. The music was fabulous and the people were great. It was a great 11 years of playing ABBA music. I enjoyed every minute of it. It was great. But then, like all things, it came to an end because of there were so many ABBA groups about. Really, that's what happened, and the work was thin on the ground. But we had a wonderful time, and we met some great people.
Yeah, we do.
Friends with bar the rhythm guitarist Rory, who I knew of, but I didn't actually know him. I've become friends with him now through being in the band with him. But yeah, we haven't really even had a squabble. So no, we're pretty good.
Yeah, we get on. Like if you have a problem, with something, we talk it out.
Yeah.
We don't quarrel or whatever. It goes well.
Yeah, definitely.
Very good. We all enjoy it. We all have a bit of a laugh, and that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, is if some of us don't enjoy it, then it shows up with other members. So as long as we're all enjoying it and having a good laugh on stage, having a good laugh backstage, then you'll always have fun at the end of the day. So as long as there's fun in the band, then it's a good laugh, it's a good atmosphere to be around.
What I've discovered from my experience of working with a variety of incredible people, really, that the most important thing of all is, beyond the ability to hit the mark metaphorically, to be able to play what is required, the most important thing of all is actually the people themselves, is how well you interact as people. That's in many ways, that's much more important. As I say, in 1980, at the age of 23, I found myself rubbing shoulders with some people that and had a massive influence on me, and that really kind of drove me down a road of wanting to discover this element, the recording and production, the arrangement, and the construction of a finished piece of music, which I embarked upon in 1982, when I bumped into a gentleman named Howard Coombs, and my first recordings were done then. And from then until now, I've had an enormous satisfaction of working with a tremendous range of people, including yourself and Colin, Lorraine, the Californians, all of the ensembles that I've been involved. It's a family thing, really, and I found it to be the most incredible family I've ever known.
I enjoy both bands in a different sort of way. The GSL soul band, I enjoy that because you've got some brilliant musicians in the band. You've got some not so brilliant, but as a whole, we bond well together, and we enjoy it. We really enjoy it. That's more the personalities between various members of the band keeps you entertained, and it's fun being in the band. Same as the blues band. Then you've got Maggie, who I played with in various other bands. We got a rapport going, and we have a good laugh on stage. The different personalities that makes the enjoyment within the band.
Well, all sorts over the years, starting out with a local band, and then I got into recording. And of course you meet a lot of different people then, all different styles, even through the punk era, even recording those guys, which was great. I mean, quite simple musically, but good fellas and down to earth, and no nonsense with it. It's great. I quite enjoy it, although I don't like the music, but it doesn't matter. But it gives you more experience of different genres and working with people. That's the main thing.
Mainly Danny Worsh, not from Asking Alexandria, just simply, not just because I like the tone of his voice, but because how versatile he is as well. He can go very gruff and then very, very clean sounding as well, and at the same time he can do really proper piercing highs and then like really guttural lows as well.
His range is phenomenal.
His range is unbelievable. Yeah.
His range is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really good.
His cleans are solid as well.
Yeah, they really are. Actually, I was watching a video of him recently at the Mitch Lucker tribute concert, the Suicide Silence, and he played his Disengage. He was perfect. He was amazing. I never didn't realise his lows were that good. So yeah, for me it'd be Danny Worsh now.
His lows are outstanding. Like his vocals in Moving On are phenomenal.
Yeah,
like, pretty much all cleans.
Unreal.
Like it's very rare, like for a guy who vocalises that sort of music to nail highs, lows, and cleans so well.
And then he has a country album as well. Yeah, no, he's insane.
He's like a Swiss Army knife for music.
Yeah, he's insane.
I like a lot of drummers that play with Frank Zappa because technically they are brilliant. There's a lot of jazz drummers that are brilliant. I thought Phil Collins was brilliant, but then after listening to him over the years, you realise that he's not as good as what I thought back in the 70s and 80s. But I haven't got a particular favourite drummer. But you have got anybody that's played with like Frank Zappa, Chad Wackerman, Chester Thompson, all brilliant drummers. So many of them on the road. My favourite Swansea drummer is Paul Smith, because he's a brilliant drummer, and he's a good mate of mine. So,
well, like for me, for the drums, it's usually a mix of Architects, Northern, and Parkway.
For me, vocals, it would be a mixture of Winston McCall's vocals in Parkway, Danny Worsnap's vocals in Asking Alexandria as well, and I've recently been practicing a bit more of my lows. So CJ McMahon from Die Hard is Murder as well. So you can kind of tell just from those answers where our music tastes kind of lie. Yeah.
But like for other members, it'd be stuff like Lamb of God,
yeah,
blues.
Rory, the guitarist, is like A Perfect Circle, Tool, stuff like that.
Yeah, Lamb of God as well.
Yeah, Lamb of God.
Like I found Rory through him doing a Lamb of God cover on Instagram that knocked my head, that blew my head
Really,
off.
really good. Yeah, that's the video that I saw
Solid.
as well. Yes, I'm pretty sure I sent you that and then messaged them.
It was
Yeah,
solid.
it was sick.
It was amazing.
I've had the luxury of expanding my horizons musically, certainly in terms of the music I've created, mainly because of this degree course, because it was required. But ironically enough, even from the get-go, from day one, year one, it was always about working with other people. And ultimately, you ended up working on your own. Although that didn't work out for me, I worked with people all the time. And I found that to be the most productive and the most rewarding experiences of all. But it has allowed me to expand. I'm interested in all music, so styles of music matter to me, whether it be, hard rock, heavy metal, driven material, or very gentle acoustic things, from all sides in between to heavy synthetic, lots of synthesizers, to some orchestral things. So that afforded me an opportunity to explore these things from reggae to R&B. They're all musical soups, if you like. And I just like to have a very big, full wardrobe.
Well, me and drummer Josh have very similar music tastes.
Metalcore and hardcore.
Metalcore, hardcore. More recently, I've been getting into a bit of deathcore as well. I like a little bit of thrash. When I say that, I mean I really like Megadeth and Slayer, those two. But metalcore and hardcore would be the main. Yeah, definitely the main two. A bit of pop punk actually as well. Yeah, pop punk too.
And some cheesier stuff. Like I do like a bit of the 1975.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think pop punk and metalcore, I think as a genres actually have quite a bit in common, because well, metalcore obviously has the breakdowns and stuff like that, but pop punk and metalcore have one thing in common: that's most metalcore bands, pop punk bands, have massive choruses,
Like really punchy ones.
really punchy hooks,
Like
and stuff.
really punchy in the gut.
So I'd say our music it is quite hook heavy. So yeah, it's technical but hook heavy. Yeah.
That being said, like the other members like aren't into such heavy stuff as we are.
Rory would be like alternative metal, groove metal.
Yeah, thrash.
Dan be blues.
Yeah, downbeat blues. I think
Reese.
like Reese like his pop punk. Like Reese likes Autumn Low or whatever.
He also
Like
really.
he just like really catchy riffs because of it.
No, he's also into stuff like
He likes Architects.
he likes Architects. He likes
Good
cheesier
choice.
stuff as well, like Skillet and Starset and stuff like that. So
It is like
he's definitely the poppier side of heavier music, but he still has a good music taste, definitely.
and
so-
it all just meshes. Is it?
It
all just
meshes into one, yeah. So we can't say that it's a little combination of everything, really.
It's worked out pretty well as well.
Yeah, it really has.
Like you didn't think that like people like who are into such varying types of music could actually make like music like everybody likes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the music that I make, we were talking about writing earlier on, is generally with somebody else, a partnership. That really hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. The styles, yes, there are many styles that we write. I don't think it's changed for any reason other than the writer's emotion. You feel like you want to write a piece, and that's how it is. It hasn't changed because of anything. It's just how you feel at the time.
I was talking to a good friend of ours earlier on, and I said to him, in a way, it's like you have the bait on the end of the hook, and once the fish has taken it, all you have to do is wind it in and pull it in and just let it be what you always wanted to be.
That's right. I think perhaps the music you make, the music we record now, or the music we're invited to listen to on the radio, that's changed because of fashion. I think this is just another subject. That's changed a lot, as we all know. Listen to like Radio 1, for example. When Radio 1 started out, and there was one station there playing hundreds of different styles of music. It's great. And now there are hundreds of stations playing one style of music. Love it or hate it, but that's what's happening. It's all very focused now, and I don't think that's very good for people's education or thinking.
It's strange as I reflect on that. I have found the things that have had the biggest impact on my life have started with the question, I wonder if I can. And when I was 16, I'd been playing the guitar for about 8 years. It was a difficult education because there weren't guitar tutors in a popular music field then. So you learned as best you could. And I had been learning covers of songs that I liked, from the Beatles and Stones and the Kinks, and going into the early 1970s then. And I remember having this thought at the age of 16 in my bedroom at the time, thinking, I wonder if I can write a song. And as I say, the things that have had the biggest impact on me from that point on have started with that question, I wonder if I can, whatever.
We didn't want to play covers, we wanted to write our own songs, and we all took turns to write stuff. In the end, I was doing most of the writing because it seemed to have a flair for it. But after that, it got, as I told you, it got more experimental, and now it's purely orchestral music. I don't write anything else.
I wasn't aware of making a step. I just got involved in. I sort of co-write with people. I'm not a writer really. No, I'm not a writer. But if somebody comes with a song or a set of lyrics, then yes, I could. That's easier for me then. I can pitch in and write the music.
To play bigger audiences, I suppose. We done the Monmouth Festival this year with about 7,000 people there, and that was a great atmosphere. The crowd liked us, and because the crowd is behind us, tend to perform better visually, and so yeah, the big venues where you're playing to thousands of people rather than hundreds of people is that would be nice to play more of those.
We're not going into it being like, oh, we're going to be the biggest band in the world or anything like that, because I think you can't start off too big-headed and with too lofty of ambitions. But our plans are to obviously still stay in the band
and just go where it takes us.
Yeah, go where it takes us. Yeah, hopefully get a first gig. That's a good starting point.
Like every band has some beginnings. Like Blink-182 started playing in the basement of Tom's house.
Yeah, exactly.
So long as we get gigs coming in, then I think we'll still be going. The blues band, we don't play that often. There's a little bit of friction within the band, a little bit, but we at the moment we're still enjoying it. So whether that will go on for too long, we got an Irish tour coming up in October. So I think after that it might stop. But the GSL band, that will still keep going as long as we keep getting gigs coming in. So I can't see that split up in a near future.
Well, I'd like to carry on doing what I've been doing. It's a personal journey. I have this repertoire, if you like, this back catalogue of stuff that I've written for all these years. And I have no great desire to want to go out and promote this as a performer. I'd be quite happy to let anyone who wanted to sing the stuff sing it. I am much more interested in the creation and the production, the arrangement and the creation of it. I find that process has become much more refined for me. Not so much in terms of I'm now more refined, but I found that, the more I grease this wheel, the easier it turns over, for want of a better term. And sometimes it's just the doing of it that, much like Colin has said about yourself, it's an evolution.
Yeah.
So I would continue to evolve, and I sometimes find myself wanting to create in whatever way that was. So I've enjoyed working with people, and I think one of the best things you can say about working with people is that, you know, if you're in a situation whereby you can make a positive contribution, no matter how large or small, that wouldn't have been made if you weren't there, then that's as good as it gets.
I don't like being in the spotlight, so competitions do suit me in that respect. I can write the music and keep it well out of the way. So even if I became successful, I don't want too much fuss, you know, and make sure that I don't. Beyond that, I just enjoy being a technician in music as well. That's why I like the technical aspect, because I can help people and let them get on with what they want to do. I enjoy that.
Sitting here, probably. So, making music, you know, not writing here and there, but mainly making recordings. Working with people like yourself, Terry, arranging music and putting it all down onto whatever they put it onto now, CDs or MP3, I don't know, or sticks or whatever it is. Sticks and stones. Yes, I think we can't stop. It's a calling, really. And, we'll be here forever, I think.
Yeah. There's something that I can understand about why does an artist art? Why does a musician muse? Why does a writer write? For the simple reason they cannot not.
When I retire from my current job, then if my hands hold up, the arthritis is setting in. So if that holds up, then yes, that would be my part-time hobby come income, I suppose. But it really depends on how my health holds up. Whether I will continue it as a full-time sort of hobby come job.
It's very satisfying, and there is nothing you can compare with it. If you're in the recording studio, you can do things again and again and again, but you have this tightrope when you're playing live, and there's no second chance, and that's it. You're on the edge, and you've got to come up with it, and I like that. And it also gives you that particular scenario gives you an edge, I think, to create instantly. Ad lib, if you like, that's what. But it's a nice feeling, in fact, and it gets the best out of people.
I enjoy playing live music. I haven't done an awful lot of it for a bit because I've been studying. Prior to that, I enjoyed playing music, but I also used to do the rigging. So it was double-edged. You know, I'd play for an hour and a half, and that was great, and that was all fun and everything. But I'd be out for over 14 hours a day, you know, taking gear back and forth to the gig, you know, setting it up, waiting till everyone finishes, break it down, and come back in the small hours. Since I haven't played live, as I said, that said, I did do a recital of my own music whilst I was in the university. Well, that was a roast, because my music was, by this point, so difficult to play, and I had to play it. That was quite a sweat, because, as I said, it did make it really difficult to play. So
I actually found myself being drawn more to wanting to be in a studio environment, because it allowed you the opportunity to hone the product to perfection and then present it. I came to think of it in the way that this mightn't be true of everyone, but you know, when you bought a Rembrandt painting, you didn't go and see him painting live. You bought the finished product, and this is true of, I say not everyone, but in many cases it's very true. What you're buying is what you're accessing is the finished product, and I was exposed to so much and an incredibly wide range of music growing up. Growing up in the 1960s was an incredible time. The 70s, the 80s, what a rich tapestry of popular music, but also orchestral music. I was in the school choir, and we were doing Handel, Handel's Messiah. So there was an enormous range of music of all sorts that I was exposed to. So when it actually came to playing live, it was almost the thing I didn't want to do again. But it was something I'd always done, and I found myself just over 23 years ago being in a scenario where I was actually making the transition from playing live for pleasure to being paid for it. And there's quite a transition there. And although it wasn't what I would necessarily have gone for, as I say, my first desire was to be right here in this environment. But I've taken an enormous amount from playing live as well, which I didn't expect to get. And yes, I have enjoyed it enormously for all of those years. So yeah.
I've been in quite a few bands where I got a lot of flatulence, which basically when you're confined to a band van and there's only 2 windows and there's 7 of us in the van, that's quite funny at times. But no, that's no, I memorable things. It's just enjoying it and really enjoying what you're doing, enjoying who you're with. That's the most memorable things, is the experience playing at different venues. Basically playing at different venues, nice venues. You get some really bad venues. Some pubs are really, really good. Some pubs are really bad. But nothing that really stands out apart from being with people that you enjoy being with, enjoying the music.
2 things. My latest composition, which is the first real composition I'm happy with, where I think I've reached a world-class standard. And, it's taken me a long time because I could hear things and I didn't know how to achieve those things. I knew where the weaknesses were. I didn't know how to put those weaknesses right, and of course over time you learn, you get, as that. Right. And the outcome is, after 40 years I've got a piece of music, I think, yeah, I can leave that go. It's not perfect, but I can leave it go to anyone in the world, any conductor in the world, and they can play it, and I wouldn't be embarrassed by it. That's one highlight, so I'm pleased with that. And it's not something for anybody else, but for me, my own personal satisfaction. Other people might not even like it. I don't care. I like it. I've done something I like.
I suppose the highlights in making music have been the astonishing people that I've had the great fortune to work with. From Lorraine King, we used to have a duo back in 2001 when we called ourselves High and Dry, which was an enormous amount of fun. And I adored the music as well. I had a joy to work with. Jonathan Lewis, when we called ourselves Casual Arrangement, which was terrific. I had the good fortune to work with Julie Jackson, wonderful singer and a dear friend. And when we called ourselves the Ginger Nut, because she's ginger and bonkers. My mentor and guide, the older brother, the young uncle I never had, Vivian John Morris Spiv, the late Spiv, who was just incredible, and what a fabulous man he was. And until the formation of what was then LA Connections 12 years ago, with your good self and John and Julie and Law, the enormously talented Colin Evans, and our dear friend Mr. Paul Smith playing drums. And we debuted that in 2006 as LA Connections, and went on to reinvent that as the Californians. Add a few more friends to it. And the last time we did that was 4 years ago in the Grand Theatre, which is absolutely amazing. And as a consequence of that, I had the great luxury and good fortune to work with both yourself and Lorraine in a kind of much more manageable format as you know, Americana Gold, and it's just it's as good as it gets.
And the other highlight was with ABBA, actually, the ABBA tribute. And we had a gig, Lakeside, I think it was called. It was down in the south part of England. And we turned up expecting to be... We knew we were headlining, but we didn't expect to be the only act. And there were thousands of people in the field. It was pouring rain, but the stage was like built up on us, literally on the lakeside. There was a lake there, and the stage was on the lake, looking onto this field. There was a big crew, big light show, big PA, and there were 12 of us on stage playing. So it was the full, ABBA had a lot of session musicians with them in the real ABBA did, and we matched them. And it was bouncing. It was the best atmosphere on stage I've ever had. I think obviously the people are there to listen to ABBA music, but I think they appreciated the fact that there was a lot of top musicians on that stage playing it accurately and playing it with it was cooking. It was really steaming along that one, and that's stuck in my head as my finest moment in life. I know I've played my own music and it didn't quite compare. I enjoy playing my own music and I enjoy people appreciating it, but that was just something about that. It was a riot. That made doing that tribute worthwhile, if nothing else.
Again, it's the people you work with, I think, Terry. And then, of course, therefore, the music that they provide or is provided for them. Highlights all the time. It's wonderful. Really good. I suppose the serious music making started when I met Sheila and Cheryl Parker. It's wonderful. Lovely girls from Swansea. And we teamed up with Paul Carman, another fabulous one. And we used to go and sing for all sorts of people on their records and things like that. And I think that, talking of highlights, those would have been the highlights. Meeting some wonderful, famous singers and players, and having to go in there and play the guitar or sing on their music. Fantastic. A real privilege at the time. Of course, an enormous education, not only musically but working with people, how to work with them. Priceless.
To make money, you may have to compromise your ideals, okay? But to create what truly comes from within, you cannot compromise at all. So there is a balance to be found. The business can be cruel and brutal in many ways. There's been an enormous paradigm shift in terms of the way music is produced, as we know, and certainly the way it's presented to through the internet, in particular through media, because that's no longer the way it used to be, and the old music business does not exist in the same way.
That's true.
I think, if you want to have a career in making music, there's a whole host of roads that you can travel down, but all roads lead to and from Rome. So, if you have a creative passion, then no matter what, you can't deny that. And ultimately, to do so is going to be detrimental. I think it's you can't do that. So I suppose if there is anything I would have to say to anyone who wanted to have a career in making music and being creative in that way, is unless you simply want to be someone who learns to play an instrument and then replicate what is written for you, then there are very established roads to do that. But if you're looking at wanting to have a career in making music, then there has to be some spark of creativity, because you must want to make something that wasn't there before you decided to make it. So I would have to say then, trust your instincts. I used to have a very simple way of judging anything that I'd written, which was if I'd heard somebody else record it, and if it was on somebody else was singing it on Radio 1, would I go out and buy it? And if the answer was yes, that was good enough for me.
Don't make it a career, make it a lifestyle. The rest will follow. Love music for what it is, not for what you can get out of it. And then generally the money will come your way. It may not be great, but you can scratch a living. You've got to be adaptable, of course. You've got to do some things you don't like. But on the other hand, you could do something other than music to earn your crust and enjoy the music for its own sake. That's still a career in music. You're still making music, and it can still take off. If you do something creative and people like it, you will be supported in that financially. But first and foremost, enjoy the music for its own sake. Do not try to make music a currency for anything else, not even fame. If you're making music just because you want to be famous, you won't do it. Or worse, it will be short-lived and you'll be ridiculed. So don't do it. Do music because you like music. Otherwise, do something else. Lots of things can make you money or make you famous, so don't use music for those. If they can, great. If they don't, no worries.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the experience, and don't take it too serious, because 99.9% of pub bands never make it big, but you've just got to enjoy it and just practice, learn different styles of music, and then try and incorporate that into your playing. Play with as many musicians as you possibly can. When you first start off, you tend to be all naive, and a drummer plays puts so much into a song that it just sounds a mess. Whereas if you just hold back a bit, put less into it, and as you say, less is more. It keeps it basic, and then just put little fills in where needed. But just enjoy the experience, and as you get better and better, you start playing with better musicians, which brings you on a lot anyway. So you will improve. Just keep doing it and improve as you go along, and just enjoy it.
Stick to their knower. They'll know whether they want to carry on. And if they do, there are many threads to it. They could be players, like you say, Terry, and play music in an orchestra, travel the world, lovely, great job. Or you could do this, you could work in a studio and produce music for all sorts of people. You could write music for film, score it. That's another avenue that brings a lot of pleasure to musicians and satisfaction when they hear the orchestra playing. All sorts of ways you can have a career. Even doing sound in TV or film. It's still a lot of music involved. And I don't know whether I can give advice. We're just laying out the possibilities. I don't think you can give advice. You either want to or you don't. And, just trust your instincts. Indeed.
Well, I feel so good, everything is getting higher. You better take it easy, 'cause this place is on fire. It's been a hard day and I don't know what to do. We made it back, baby, it happened for you. And I'm so glad you made it. So glad you made it. You gotta give me some loving. Give me some loving. Give me some loving. Give me some loving.
Thank you for asking us.
Whoa!
Marvellous.
Well done, Terry.
Oh, beautiful.
I thought you were brilliant.
I thought you were more brilliant.
There's a donkey out here without hind legs.